Welcome to the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room, starring Antone Davis, Rocky DiStefano, Delano Williams, and Phil Anthony. Fantasy football, real results.
What's up, and welcome to the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room. I'm your host, Delano Williams, and once again, you guys know the boys are back in town.
What's up?
I like that.
Minus Antone.
Hey,
Yeah,
minus
well, no,
Antone.
he's coming. He's
Plus
making-
one female.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Jeez,
we
all
always
kinda-
take a plus one. We always take a plus
All
one.
kind of conditions on the boys. So the boys are back.
The boys, that's it. That's all you need to
That's
know.
it.
That's all you need to know. Hey,
I'm in a
did
jersey this episode. Damn it.
Hey, well, that's true. That's
you go.
actually, we got to give that to you.
First curse word, 10 seconds.
Damn it is not a curse word.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As much as I want to elaborate on what you're saying, Phil, today's beer.
Today's drinking
Today's
beer.
drinking beer.
Sipping beer.
is, how do you say that? Elysian?
Elysian, yeah.
Elysian Space Dust IPA.
Yeah.
I have to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the IPAs, but this one's kind of good.
Okay. It was good recovery. I thought you were going to
Yeah,
say
I
this
think-
is piss.
come on, don't trash the beer.
Whoa, guys. Whoa.
It sounds like you're going there.
Okay, we got the beer, but what else? Who else got?
A big shout out to Stogie Express. Again, like I said, go check them out. Whether you're an experienced smoker or somebody just getting into the hobby, they'll take care of you.
I got to tell you, I had a smoke
Yeah.
outside.
Okay.
Where I was allowed on
Risky.
the patio.
Oh, wow.
He had a smoke.
Uh-oh.
He got
Had a
permission.
smoke. It was nice. It was good.
Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah, it was.
Which
pretty
one
good.
did you
Which
have?
one
Do you
you had?
remember?
I had the sweet, the
Okay.
Romeo.
The nub, yeah.
Nice. That was
Nice.
a good one. The little
Yes, a big
snubby.
shout out to Stogie, man.
And
We
my wife-
appreciate you.
Yes,
My
big
wife
shout
goes,
out.
what the hell
Appreciate
you
it.
doing?
Does she sound like that? Maybe that's why you like Coach O.
My mind.
But anyway, yeah. So shout out to Stogie Express. Follow them on Instagram. Check out what they got. All right.
Feel good about our backups. Feel good about our tight end. I feel good about our quarterback. I feel good about our two running backs.
Thank you, Coach O.
Guys, y'all know I love that so much. Probably one of my favorite segments of the day.
Yeah, you did that pretty well.
Well, I hope I sound like I'm from the Bayou.
I mean, could you be Coach's son? Coach O,
possibly.
he's about, what,
Possibly.
70?
Yeah, I can only feel good
late
about our
60s.
two running backs, though. Two running back.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, guys. We're gonna go into game by game. We're gonna start with let me see, the Texans and the Lions for this week, because as we know, it is Thanksgiving. We have two big games this week, midweek. Texans Lions and Washington Cowboys. Washington Cowboys going to be pretty good, but we're going to start with Texas Lions. What do you guys think about that game? What do you guys think so far, right now? I'm gonna give you my opinion, but let me hear what you guys got to say about it.
I'll let you go first, big man.
See, so Delano, Antone's gone, and I'm the big man now.
Oh.
Thanks,
No, you're just the godfather of fantasy, so.
yeah, I like that. I think the Texans are going to take this game.
Okay.
I like Deshaun Watson quite a bit in this game, to be honest with you. I think he's, honestly, we talked about this midweek. Other than one game where he finished out of the top 30, which was the tornado game in Cleveland.
Yes.
He's been top 10 every other week, top 6 4 weeks, and number 1 week. So I think that he's going to have a good game.
Great game. What do you think? What do you think, Phil?
I don't know, man. They're a bad team. So,
Ooh.
I mean, I like Watson too, but I just don't know. I don't know, man. The NFL, it's been crazy lately.
It's a good call. I agree with
Lions last week, nobody thought the Lions were going to get shut out. You would have went into that week thinking, you could play Jones. You'll get something from somebody out of the backfield, and Stafford would put up numbers, and they didn't do anything. So,
you. Well, since you're speaking numbers, let me just give you some numbers here.
yeah, go ahead.
Deshaun Watson's actually playing very well right now.
Yeah. Yep.
His rating's pretty high right now. I do believe it's a 1.8, 0.6, and 108.6 to be. And last week 11, he gave us 344 yards, 2 touchdowns. His
Always
rating
a threat
is
to run, too, which I love.
Oh yeah, he's got that. He's definitely got that. Last game, if we're looking for his rating, it was 121.9, doing very well. But if we're looking at overall, if you're trying to decide whether you want Deshaun, Watson to start for you or to not against this game, I think he has a pretty good upper hand right now. We're going to look at it, 20 touchdowns over the season, 5 interceptions only, 1.8 overall for the year. He has a pretty good targets out there. like you said, I do believe Rocky. You do like Fuller.
Have
you like Fuller a lot.
Have you guys seen the just cut you off? Have you seen the commercial with Watson in it?
No.
Not yet. No.
Oh man,
Is it good?
Yeah, no, it's.
What is it
pretty
for?
funny.
What is it for?
It's just I don't even remember. It's just him talking and
Bad advertising.
it's not. I don't remember what it is. I just remember his voice. You can't see him talking for like the first
It's
15
not the
seconds
one-
of the commercial.
It's not the one
And I
with
thought it was
the
like
head.
No. He's just talking about something happened on the field, and he just I don't know. He sounds like a cartoon character, and then they show him talking, and it just didn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're talking about Fuller.
Bad
Yeah.
advertising.
I like Fuller. I like Cooks in this game. I think we already mentioned that. I like Cooks a whole lot. I just think he's right now the more startable receiver week in and week out.
So if we're looking at his stats. He's got 47 receptions right now, 6.3, 3 touchdowns, and then also the Lions are weak against the pass. So just looking at this game right now, I'm going to go with the Texans for sure. If we're looking at the Lions, Matt Stafford has not had the best 2 games last week. He hasn't had the last 2 games he's played. They haven't been the best, and their defense is not all that good. So I do expect the Texans to be, using Fuller and Brandon Cook for sure this week to pull out
Yeah, I
that
like
win.
Cooks and Fuller too. I mean,
What do you think, Phil? I know you're a big DeAndre Swift fan.
Ooh,
What are you thinking?
the Lions, eh?
yeah. I just read today that he's still in play. I mean, it's going to be if he could pass the concussion protocol before the game tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's
but
tough,
he practiced.
tough part.
He had limited practice yesterday.
That's limited.
So, but that's better than being ruled out. So he's on the pathway to be cleared.
Yeah, and this is what I would say for Thanksgiving games. You need to be watching at the very beginning of the game, right before they kick off. They'll announce who is and who's not playing, and you still would have time to go back in and deactivate Swift and put another running back in if he's not going to play, because there's a chance he might not play.
And we call that tinkering.
Tinkering.
Tinkering. You want to tinker. Tinker time is very limited before the games. You guys know 1 o'clock hits. There's no room for that. But
Yeah.
if
That
you're
should be-
watching,
Rocky
should be
knows. Rocky
tinker
tinkers
time.
a lot.
Tinker
That should
time.
be a
You're a
segment.
tinkerer.
Do you tinker?
Delano's Tinker Time.
tinkers.
Tinker's not good. It's not too
He tinkers
good.
on his own.
Delano-
Tinkers alone.
Delano's Tinker Time.
Tinker.
Tinker time.
That sounds like
Tinker
a
time.
section.
Hey, listen.
section.
You don't always want to get caught tinkering because sometimes it can nip you in the.
Have you ever been caught tinkering?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a tinkerer.
How long has it been since you've been caught?
Man,
though? When's the last time you tinkered?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Last week, if I'm gonna just say this right now, last week I should have tinkered Antonio Brown in
Okay.
over Fulgham, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. So that was my tinker time.
Okay.
Not spent.
I like that kind of Tinker
All right,
Time.
and let's move on to that other Thursday game, right?
Washington Cowboys.
at the Cowboys.
What'd you
And
think?
an NFC East matchup. We'll be watching this one pretty closely.
Yes, we will.
See what happens. I'm rooting for Washington because I think
Yes.
we beat them twice,
Yep.
and we just want to get the Cowboys out of the way.
Agreed.
But as far as this game, if we're going to talk about the quarterback matchup, I do like Smith, but last week he looked pretty bad. And I would like Dalton after the performance last week, but he's going up against a pretty stout defense. So I don't know. I just have mixed feelings about both the quarterbacks. If I was going to start one, I'd probably still go Alex Smith just because of the matchup. Guy I want to highlight here is, I guess somebody – it's kind of a sleeper now just because of the season he had, but Zeke, I did talk about him yesterday. I do like how he looked and going forward in the season, but this is a tough matchup. And last week was his first 100-yard game of the year.
Well, and you were mentioning that you also were impressed with his backup, too.
Yeah, Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I do like Pollard. And more so in a dynasty or a setting where you could kind of stash him and maybe put him. Some leagues, they let you keep guys that you pick up off waivers and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
he's a good handcuff at the very least. But.
he's talented. That's the thing about him. He's a talented back. So
the weird thing I would say is I am not interested as much in Zeke, although I do think he'll get his touches and I think he'll look okay. I do. I just think the yards that he gets are going to be hard fought yards.
Oh, I agree.
yeah,
The strength of the D for Washington is that D line. Chase Young put a hit on Joe Burrow that he's never going to forget that.
the
hit.
boys can hunt.
Come on now.
But they're a little bit weaker in the secondary, and I actually like Dalton and his 3 receivers. He has 3 very quality receivers.
I just don't know that he'll have the time to get to all of those guys.
He might not.
Well, you got to think about their line right now. Their line is not the best offensive line. So going against Washington is looking like the better bet.
And we'll talk about Gibson, who we've been pounding the table for.
Oh, yes.
Just throw these numbers out there. Last 4 games, 280 yards, 5 rushing TDs, 8 receptions for 65 yards. And Dallas is ranked 31st in rushing yards against. So
don't forget, they are the team that Chubb went out against when the Browns played him, and they made the Ernest Johnson look like a starting running back in the league. He had almost 100 yards. So to me, Gibson is a start, and I might even look at McKissick. I think there's going to be a lot of short
maybe he could bounce back this game. Yeah.
Digging deep.
Yeah.
And also, Washington is ranked 4th against wide receivers. So, yeah, you were saying they are soft as far as giving up yardage, but holding specifically wide receivers fantasy points, they're ranked 4th. So
that's pretty.
That might be tough. With Cooper, last 2 games, 11 catches, 148 yards. So I think you still got to start him if you have him on your team.
For sure.
And let's just remember that Haskins is on the bench making hot dogs in the locker room, and he went to Ohio State.
Oh, man.
All right, so we're ready to move on to the next game,
real
Rocky.
quick. I mean, you're right.
Gabby's wearing an Ohio State jersey, and you're going to talk that trash to her.
Not only that, hold on. You have to say something very vital.
Well,
The Giants wanted him.
No, they didn't. They passed on him.
No, I understand that, but for a lot of fans, the Giants wanted Haskins. I'm so glad we did pass over.
Hey, jury's not out.
The jury's out.
Jury's not out.
What are you talking?
Gabby,
He
what
might
do
not
you
even
think
get
about
get on
These
another
guys
roster.
are trash talking your team.
Ooh.
No, we're talking trash
I'm going to
talking
be
your team.
honest.
Let me hear it. Let's hear
Don't
it.
be honest.
Let's hear
Lie. All right. She's going to say she's not a Buckeye fan, and she should be.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You know
Who would have
what?
thought Cardale Jones would be a better quarterback than Haskins?
Her mother is from Ohio, and
I don't think that has to
treating
do
her
with
mom
it.
with disrespect.
I'll be a Buckeye because I don't care about college football that much or at all.
There you go.
Hey,
I should be
that's fair.
honest.
That's the
I'm not a
exact.
fan.
That's the type of fan that
First of all-
Buckeyes.
First of all,
They need that.
First of all, if I hear any of you ever say Ohio State without saying the Ohio State University,
Ohio State.
Listen,
Wow.
I'll take my belt off.
It
and I'll-
doesn't say D.
I will
on the
teach you guys a
jersey.
lesson in the corner.
I believe
You have
that.
a belt on?
So
you need a belt?
you know what? The Ohio State.
All right, you ready to get into the next game?
All right, let's go to the Ravens versus Steelers. I'm
gonna be honest.
Gabby's favorite team.
That was hard for me. I'm gonna let you break that down so I can learn a lot from this.
Okay, so Ravens, Pittsburgh. It late note. It did get moved to Sunday. They have several of their players in the COVID protocol, and I guess they're pushing it to Sunday to see if they can get them to start, which is good news. Here's my thoughts. The Ravens are not a top 10 offense anymore.
Agreed.
They were last year. They looked fantastic. But other than their game against Cleveland in the opener, they've only scored 21 touchdowns in their last 9 games total. Ooh. So they're starting to trend down. Pittsburgh has the best defense, I think, in the league, top to bottom.
No, they do. They do.
Best rushing, best pass coverage, and they're not hurt. They're healthy. So to me, when you put the worst, or not the worst, but a very bad Lamar Jackson who can't figure out how to use Hollywood Brown, whose really only receiving target is Mark Anthony, who may be without 2 of their running backs. To me, this is an open and shut, easy game. The Steelers win. I don't start anybody on Baltimore with the exception of maybe Mark Andrews, who has proven that he's a top tight end.
I agree with everything you said, besides not starting anybody besides Andrews. I think I would still start Gus Edwards.
Yeah,
They
especially
played
if
Pitts-
the other 2 aren't playing.
Yeah, well, I think they're solidly not playing, but even if, maybe because they moved to Sunday, they may play.
That's the thing. I don't know what they're
Whoever's
doing
the
with the
lead
Sunday.
back, I would start, though, because they played, I think they played, 3 or 4 weeks ago, guesstimating, and they did rush for over 100 yards and a touchdown. So
they look good.
Yeah, you still may get some production from the running back spot.
Right.
I just don't understand why the move, Phil, unless they think that they can let the running backs play. Why else would you move the game? To not spread it, maybe?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
So again,
I
this
know
is
a few of the Pittsburgh players were pretty upset on Twitter.
Right.
Yep.
Claypool, I think, right?
So I think you got a point. I think if you check back and you see that, it's going to be Gus Bus, then you feel secure starting Gus Bus and maybe Mark Andrews. As far as for the Steelers, listen, Ben Roethlisberger, he hasn't been killing it with yardage, but he's been among the most consistent in touchdown throws.
Yep.
He's thrown 24 TDs in 10 games. And he's got maybe, again, the top 3 receivers in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
This week, I would rank in this order. Deontay Johnson is a start every week, and he's the main receiver.
Over Juju.
Yeah, for sure.
Claypool right now in this game specifically is number 2, and Juju is number 3. But mostly that's because Juju injured his ankle in the first quarter of last week's game, and he wasn't the same after that.
Okay.
So James Conner, we've talked about him.
He was good for a while.
He was.
But then he definitely fell off.
But his last game against Baltimore was decent. Yeah, I mean,
it was good.
Yeah. So it's like if you have him and you don't, he's not going to kill you. I think he'll make do this week. It's just he's not one of those top 10 guys. So.
He's got high upside, right?
And he was good against the Ravens last time they played. So
I think he's good. It's just if he's fallen off over the time for running back and
get in here.
Get in there, Phil.
Sorry.
What was that for?
Talking to the mic, you dope.
I'm getting too comfortable.
What were you doing? Do you see that?
I was just trying to refocus myself.
I like how he gave his mic its own little. Look at it.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's better.
He's the only one that's got it.
Right. That's what he needs. He's the hardest.
This is my moneymaker. I want to make sure.
Ooh,
you see me.
Okay. Raiders Falcons.
That's you, buddy.
Raiders Falcons, which is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a nail biter, and the reason I say that is the Raiders are looking really good. I think they are the best 6-3 team right now. Or no, is that 6-4?
I don't know.
Don't quote me. I'm the rookie. They are the best.
They lost
6-3.
They lost to the Bucks. They lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah, maybe we should look up the Raiders' record.
Yeah, do that real quick so I
do
don't
that.
look
You
silly
keep
because I
talking.
already know. Well, I'm going to say
that ship sailed.
I'm going to definitely sailed already. Raiders for sure. Either way, are one of the best teams right now.
No, I agree with you. They honestly, they played the Chiefs incredibly tough.
Close, really close.
Should have won both games.
Yeah,
1-1.
But we can't count out the Chiefs.
They're 6-4. They are 6-4.
So either way, they are the best 6-4 team.
Yeah, I would
there is this.
I would agree with that. I think, and I think there's some 7-3 teams that aren't as good, like the Browns.
No, they're pretty good. And if I'm going to give the reasons why, after talking about Deshaun Watson, I have to say Derek Carr is right on par with him.
Yeah,
he's right on.
Derek Carr.
He's really good right now, and Derek Carr is playing really good ball. He's at great targets. If you're looking at Aguilar, if you're looking at Waller, am I saying that right?
Darren
Darren Waller. I have to say Waller's probably taking a lot more receptions, a lot more targets, but both of them are great receivers. And with that, looking at the Falcons are not. They're just not who they once were.
No.
And
Ryan struggled mightily last week at New Orleans.
Well, he's at 48 on the QB rating. Like that's
he threw for just 232 yards, second lowest of the season for him. And the reality was Julio started the game and then went out for a big portion, came back, caught a pass, but
wasn't enough.
And he was hampered when he caught the pass. He was limping.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I can't figure it out because I think Ridley is actually a better receiver than Julio. Yes. But Matt Ryan needs both.
Well, I think, like I said on the last episode, is when he doesn't have the offense is made to run through Julio. So when he's not pulling coverage, it just makes it harder for Ridley to. I mean, he's gonna be the guy that's gonna get doubled. Who are you worrying about besides Ridley on the field?
Aguilar?
So they could double up.
I'm so sorry. You're right. No, that's different.
No, let's just throttle down.
Russell Gage.
Russell Gage has been inconsistent. I mean,
yes.
You can single cover Russell Gage. That's the issue because when you double cover Julio, Ridley could beat 1-on-1, and then you have issues.
But when you double cover Ridley, and there's nobody else.
There's nobody else. Yeah, everybody else could be locked up 1-on-1.
So that's why it would be a easy shutdown for
Well, and
for Atlanta.
And the thing is, Julio he probably isn't going to practice all this week. So we're not going to have any real indication until game time of whether he's playing.
Right.
So you have to be careful of that.
No, we did. I mentioned Gurley earlier, and I mentioned that stat: 60 attempts in the last 3 weeks, 4 touchdowns. Right on the other side, another volume guy, Jacobs, 83 attempts over the last 4. So I had that wrong. Gurley, it's the 3 of the last 4. I'm taking out last week because that game they were down most of the game.
Yes.
And it just kind of took him out of the game. They couldn't give him that many attempts, but just taking those 3. So basically they're averaging about 20 attempts per game, 4 TDs each. I mean, these are guys you're going to plug in and play because they're getting the volume. As much as we've talked down on Gurley, he's still a strong start. I wouldn't be opposed to starting him.
Raiders ranked 12th in rush defense, but they've allowed 16 rushing TDs, as many as they've allowed passing total. So it's a decent matchup for Gurley.
But also with that, running back, if we're going to look at Atlanta has like allowing over 300 yards passing. Yeah. So
you're saying that
on
the other side,
it's going to be. That's why I say it's a nail biter. I don't know. I'm personally going to go with the Raiders. They're just looking that much more solid, consistent right now.
I don't even think it's going to be a nail biter. I think you're making a case that it's not going to be a nail biter.
But you can't just count them out. I wanted to make that. Go ahead.
No, you're like me. We're remembering the Matt Ryan that used to be.
Yes.
But he's been good this year.
He's been okay.
He's been good. You just said the lowest yardage total he had. Yeah, that's his lowest for the year. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, but there's yardage and there's TD production, right?
And a lot of those TDs are going to Gurley.
Yeah, that's fair. But then
he's been playing well though.
That negates somewhat his start as a fantasy.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't. For me personally, you can't count out wide receivers. They show up when you don't want them to show up. They show up when you expect them.
Well, Phil was mentioning that this week. Listen, guys, we're going based off. I mean, we are looking at the numbers. We're looking at the defense and the rank, and we're probably hitting at 60-65% of our suggestions. And then you're going to have a week where you're like, what the hell?
Why did they say start him?
Yeah.
And it's just,
and you just don't know. And is what it is. It's fantasy football.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday. Go ahead.
Chargers Bills, which I think is probably secretly the game of the week.
Okay.
I can see that.
I like take the records out, just the offenses and the defenses in this game. I think it's going to be high scoring, pretty exciting game to watch. You got Air Bear. You got old Allen boy over there. And it's just going to be a fun game. The only running back I want in this game really is Balaj. I don't want Moss. I don't want Singletary. Guys are getting like 4 carries a game.
Yeah, and Allen rushes them in.
Yeah, that too. And then Chargers, just something to keep an eye on. They're ranked 6th against fantasy wide receivers. You're still going to start Diggs because he's been a stud. And Beasley had a great game, but the 2 games before that, he had 2 receptions. He had 3 receptions. He had another game with 11, and then everything before that is in the single digits, pretty low receptions. So, if you got to plug him in at your flex, he's not a bad option.
No.
But just keep that in mind. They're going against a pretty good pass defense. And I know we could talk about Keenan Allen for days. I don't really think we need to touch on him.
He balled out last week.
It's a good matchup.
It's really all season.
He balled out.
He has become the receiver we thought he could be. And in contested passes, I don't know that there's a better receiver as far as going up and getting it.
I would agree.
He's impressed me this year.
What'd you think?
Well, Keenan's a beast. The thing about him is he's consistently been a high target guy.
Yeah.
He's going to get a bunch of work.
And this year he's just turned them into touchdowns
that's
too.
The thing. That's the thing.
I think he's been getting better quarterback play. Unfortunately, than he was getting in the past few years.
Well, you got
no
Noodle.
Disrespect to I like Phil Rivers, but
get him out of there. Get him out of there.
I don't know Phil Rivers. I don't know if I like him or not.
I'm gonna be honest.
I know he's got a noodle arm.
What's his name again?
Phil.
So
Mike Williams.
He was overshadowed by Eli.
Well, we don't have to go there.
I'm sorry. I had to.
He has the rings already.
I got it. I'm sorry.
When you're in you got to act like you've been
there
there before.
It's the diehardness.
So Mike Williams is a guy I like that's coming on a bit. Last 4 weeks, 16 catches, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this matchup here, like I said, it's going to be a little tough for the Bills wide receivers. On the other end of the spectrum, this Bills defense is ranked pretty low, probably bottom 3 against the pass. So it's it's a good matchup for both of those guys, and I think you're starting almost everybody in this game, maybe not Beasley, and the running backs for Buffalo.
All right. Next game we're going to talk about is the Giants versus Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
I get to talk about your team, and I'm going to say some
Don't do that.
uncharacteristically kind words about the Giants.
You know what? I saw, just not to cut you off, but I actually seen a guy that actually just did the same thing. He didn't want to.
Yeah.
It was like involuntary, but he had to say nice things because the truth of the matter is we are the NFC East beasts.
And yes, you may make the playoffs. I'm going to swallow hard as I say that.
I know. It's hard.
So come again?
So here's what I know about Cincinnati is Joe Burrows is out for the season. ACL, MCL, structural damage.
It looked bad.
Listen, honestly, this is a scary injury. He may not play next year. He may not be ready until the following year.
Is that bad? I mean, it looked bad. It looked bad.
And with him goes Cincinnati's offense. So after he left somewhere in the middle or the beginning of the third quarter. They only had 48 yards after he left. So that's number one. And it was already going to be a weaker game for Burrows because the Giants ranked 12th in scoring defense.
Right.
And, they've looked really good. In fact, I think that they look good in offense or better in offense, but what they really have looked good on is defense.
For sure.
I do, however, like Wayne Gallman. His 18 carries in the last game were more than twice as many as his backup, Alfred Blue?
Yep.
Alfred Morris?
No, Alfred Morris.
Yeah, Alfred Morris. And, he mixes in a few catches here and there. But here's what I like about him. He is proving that he is an NFL back.
Yeah.
He is really, to be honest with you, Saquon.
I was waiting for this.
I love him, and his game is side to side to get ahead. And Wayne Gallman's just not playing
north-south.
He's just going. He's running over.
Yeah, I think they'd be a nice 1-2 punch if
yes.
Saquon could come back healthy.
Yeah.
That's a Giants.
I think if you get reasonable blocking like Saquon had his first year where he set the world on fire.
Right.
You're good. And it's a nice change of pace to have a guy that runs downhill.
And I think you need somebody to spell him, and then I think it allows you to put Saquon out for some of those bubble routes or jets and get to but we're not talking about Saquon now.
We
are talking about
it's hard. I mean, you're a big Penn State fan, so that makes sense.
I respect Penn State. I think we should start if you have Gallman. I think it's a good start this week. I don't love any of the receivers. No. Sterling is going to do what Sterling does. I have 6 receptions a game.
What about Golden?
Yeah.
They have been underutilizing him.
He's solid.
He's solid.
He's solid in Golden, I mean, but I'm not starting Golden Tate unless I have to start Golden Tate.
No, but you're right about Shepard. Shepard is probably one of the most consistent.
Yeah, when he's healthy.
I want to talk about Darius.
We've spent entirely too much time talking about the Giants.
Not really.
I was waiting. Why you want to pass it to me already?
Yeah, I think we should go to.
No. Let's get a little more. Eli. No, I'm sorry.
All right.
Sorry, you guys know.
I wouldn't be, and I don't
visibly
think Jones.
heard your
I don't
heart
think Jones is
pump.
a bad.
Eli. Calm down, you two.
He needs to whisper it.
Mr. Danny Dimes, I don't think is a terrible start this week. Eli, you're going against his.
Hold on, speak on that.
30th ranked pass defense. They've been designing a lot of runs for him. He's had, I think, probably like 4 rushing touchdowns the last 4 weeks, and one of them was called back.
Yes, sir.
So he's probably in a good spot to maybe throw. At least he's going to throw or run for one of these touchdowns. He might get 2, and I think he'll be able to throw the ball. Their defense is not very good. So.
All right. Yeah. Well,
Rocky wants to get off the Giants,
it's
but
Danny Dimes,
you gotta listen. All right. So looking at the next matchup, we got the Titans versus the Colts. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And let me hear you guys' opinions before I try to throw out some stats. What do you think?
Well, I don't like any. I did like Rivers coming into this game and looking at it a little bit more. I'm not so crazy about him. He had a decent game last night. They played like 3 weeks ago, and he had a decent game. But yeah. So I'm not crazy about Tannehill, and he's played good defenses this year.
He's a competent quarterback, but that's it. Like he reminds me of kind of a Brad Johnson.
He makes play. I'd say he makes more plays than I get what you're saying.
Well, he can move with his legs. He can run
plays. I've seen him make some throws that I haven't seen a Brad Johnson or one of those guys make. I think he's probably yet to figure out how to thrive against a really tough defense, and maybe that just comes with more experience.
Well, what I would say is that they appear to want him to be a game manager.
Fair,
that's just my thoughts.
I don't think it's for everyone.
Yeah.
So
Colts, I think we have to say they're a good team.
They are. Well, both teams are tied right now. So either one coming out of this going into, big time games, either one of these teams are going to be playing their heart out to just become 8 and they're both 7-3 right now.
Well, and they both won by comebacks last week, right?
They did.
Titans beat the Ravens. The Colts beat the
I almost would say
Packers.
they're overtime. And were they both overtime? I think they
Ravens
were both
game
overtime.
was overtime. I'm not.
I want to
yeah,
say they were both overtime wins for them.
And
so.
like I just said, just keep in mind if you got any of these guys on your team, they did play a couple of weeks ago, so it's easy to go back and look how these players did against each other. I just took notes of like 2 or 3 guys. AJ Brown, 1 catch, 21 yards against Indy. So keep that in mind. Corey Davis, 5 for 67. So maybe this is a game. Take it 2 ways. Where you play Corey Davis, or maybe you look at it like maybe they'll be more aware of him, and then it frees up AJ Brown a little bit. So you go there, and then we talked about the Colts receiving corps and how we weren't really sure who we would want to start. And we said Pittman's kind of the top dog, and he had his best game of the year against the Titans a few weeks ago, 7 for 101.
Yeah,
no touchdowns, but just as easily could score a touchdown. So he's probably a solid start in this game.
We talked a little bit about Jonathan Taylor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you start Taylor? Do you start Hines? Do you?
So, personally, what I would do is I'd probably start Taylor over Hines. Hines is great. I just think he's gonna have a lot. Taylor's gonna have a lot more production this week of going against the Colts. It's an even matchup. They're both great. It's not like one team is better than the other. That by far. So I'm gonna go with JTT.
Yeah, I like both of them. I think most guys are not going to have
Hines.
both on their team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you have Hines, I think you can still play him at your flex and expect to get 5 catches, maybe 40.
That might be the move.
50 yards.
Flex him.
I wouldn't be opposed to that because the Titans' defense is not a defense you're really worried about slowing down one of your backs catching the ball. They're not suffocating. They're kind of a bend but don't break, but break most of the time defense. So
and what makes this harder is Taylor's coming off his best game of the year.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But last time Tennessee played the Colts, Hines had 2 touchdowns, 70 rushing yards, and 25 receiving yards. So, that's
a gamble.
Yeah, that's what makes it a gamble.
It goes back to what you were saying about maybe hearing that this guy was banged up a little bit too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because before that, Taylor had a 100-yard game in Minnesota. And had actually had, I think he averaged over 60 yards for 4 games straight, and then he just fell off the face of the earth. But it's a gamble because they're both good backs.
Yeah.
So
all right, so let's go to the next game. It's going to be Panthers at the Vikings. And I'm going to start kind of moving quickly through these because I think we are really spending a lot of time on each game.
Panthers.
But I'll just say a few names.
Let me get the Panthers.
I'll say a few names, give you a few stats, and you guys tell me what you think about it. We already know Cook. We know Davis. We're going to start both of those guys. You might even start Cousins against this Panthers defense. I'm not sure if Teddy Bridgewater is going to play, but I think either one of those guys is a decent matchup here against the Vikings defense. Dylan's out, so Chad Beebe.
So he actually, late notice, may actually, he tested negative today.
I heard he tested negative and positive, right?
He tested positive first, then negative today.
So it's still up in the air.
Yeah, so he would have to get a few more negatives, but he could start.
Okay, so if he starts, obviously
crazy.
you play Thielen. If he doesn't start, they have a guy who's their third wideout, Chad Beebe, had 17 snaps back last week, 2 catches. He might get a lot of looks because he'll be filling up that number 1 slot or the number 2 slot. And just like we talked about the Panthers wideouts last week, and we were making a comparison. I put all their stats here. DJ Moore, 13 catches, 21 targets, 241 yards, a touchdown. Anderson had 20 catches. So did Samuel, 28 targets, 24 targets, 130 yards, 183 yards. What I point out to you about what you said before is it seems like DJ Moore is getting more of the longer targets, more air yards than Anderson. And Anderson and Samuel kind of mixing in the middle area, and I think they do throw a few screens to Anderson, so he gets involved like that too.
All right. We're going to go next to the Cards versus Pats. And listen, I'm not surprising anybody when I say that Murray is in the top tier of quarterbacks, But this is a risky start. And I'm going to tell you this. If you have Kyler Murray, you start him. You start him.
Well,
But New England is a very good team, specifically in the defensive side. Specifically, they have a very smart secondary, and it also seems like they have a lot more ability than other teams to actually develop a plan that could account for Murray's scrambling. They have had success against Josh Allen. They've had success against Patrick Mahomes, and they've had success against Lamar Jackson, keeping all of them to a lot fewer yardage. They seem to focus on making the quarterback throw.
Yeah.
In addition, Murray hurt his shoulder last week, and so if I'm him, I don't want to go run. I mean, he is the NFL's smallest quarterback.
is the smallest.
And I just don't think I want to run that much,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I would, you got to start him. Other than that, if you look at Drake, right, or
I think you start Drake.
Chase Edmonds.
I don't even think about.
Well,
starting
right
Edmonds.
now, both of this is a toss up right now for both of them. They're both on the field.
So you think that, and I like Chase's catching, but they are not running Chase when Kenyon's there.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't get it.
That's true.
Receivers, you got two receivers, right? Hopkins is something that it is a lower matchup to me because New England is good in their secondary.
Yeah.
But you got to start him. And then Christian Kirk has actually outscored Hopkins 6 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns. So I think he merits looking at him too.
Last 2 weeks, 13 catches for 190 yards for Kirk.
Yeah. On the other side, I like Cam Newton, actually.
Me too.
Arizona's not that good against the rush. I think he's going to be the one that sneaks in there.
Mm-hmm.
We said Burkhead is hurt. Sony Michel's coming back, but he's not really a goal line back.
Right.
And they've shown that they don't really like using Damian Harris at the goal line.
For some reason.
So I think it's either going to be Cam running it in or James White with a short pass to score.
That's fair. And then we talked about, everybody's asking about Jacoby Myers down week last week. And I'll just mention Bird last 2 weeks, 11 grabs, 197 yards, touchdown on 18 targets.
And going against his former team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played with, I'm guessing he might want to show
Always.
the Cardinals that
Always.
they made a mistake here.
And it's not a bad call.
Yeah.
All right, Delano.
We're going to go
our next one.
Dolphins versus Jets.
Ooh, I like this. What is this? Is this divisional?
It's the better New York
Is this
team.
divisional right
The
now?
Jets.
You don't even believe that.
I don't believe it, or he doesn't believe that.
He doesn't believe that.
I don't know what he just said.
I said the better New York
No,
team.
I still don't know.
the only New York team.
For some odd reason, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Dolphins versus the Jets. Dolphins looking pretty good. Jets looking like trash.
Yeah, but
Dumpster divers.
okay. So you think Jets are going to be all in?
Man, the
Or
Jets.
the Jets are going to lose?
The
Yes,
Jets are
that's what he
probably.
said.
I don't. Is there another option for them?
Probably not.
I'm just gonna be honest. New York is New York, but there's no New York like the real New York.
I don't agree
you know
with
what I mean?
that. I
Hey,
don't-
just
I don't-
pause. Right.
Well,
Let me
I don't agree.
just stop. Just take a little sip. Enjoy yourself. The Jets are probably going to lose this game. Looking at the Dolphins, how they've been playing the last 3-4 games, they're really showing up. Not in Dolphins-esque, but they have.
Hey, guys, not to cut you off, but we're going to pick the games later.
Man, just go with it.
Let's just. But I'm
What
saying
you
that's
think?
what's
What you think, Dolphins?
taking so long because
So
we keep talking
who do you
about
guys
the
start?
games.
Who do you guys start
Who
on
you starting?
Miami or the Jets?
You asking me?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm asking you, Phil.
All
Fill us
good.
in.
Don't get sassy with me, guy.
Heard
Okay?
that.
You don't
Just
Sorry
trying to
about that,
move.
boss.
You don't
the show
start
along,
to-
all right?
Heard that.
Hey, guy.
There
You
it
don't
is. It's
start
here.
Tua. You don't start Tua.
He wants to start Tua for a knee injury.
No, I don't want to start to.
No, he's not. He didn't. No
I know.
injury.
Oh, I know. I just want to.
Do you start Flacco?
No.
Do you start Gore, the
No.
guy that's been
Ooh,
around
did you
forever?
really?
Well, P. Ryan is hurt. Yeah, so Gore's the guy. He's the only guy,
Do
really.
you start Mims or Crowder?
I think you can take
Crowder.
a look at Mims.
Okay.
Crowder.
So you're saying maybe you start one.
I would
wide
think,
receiver?
yeah, that would be better.
What about for
them.
the Dolphins? Who do you start at running back for them?
It's tough. Ahmad didn't practice yesterday. Shoulder injury. And Gaskin's coming back from IR.
Yep.
And before the injury, he's like around 20-something touches a game.
I think you could maybe be safe starting Gaskins if you really believe he's going to rebound quickly. but it's it is a risk coming off IR. What about receivers? Do you start Parker?
I like Parker. Yeah.
What about Gesicki?
Ooh.
I don't know. The Jets are pretty soft against the tight end, so yeah, maybe start Gesicki, but
All right,
he just doesn't pop off the page for me.
let's get to the game of the week.
This is a shame.
The game of the week.
Thank you for that.
Show America's team respect.
Oh wow.
You talk about Mr. Baker Mayfield?
Wouldn't
or-
America's team technically be the Patriots?
No, nobody wants to talk about Baker Mayfield.
I do want to bring something up that I read earlier. It was pretty funny. So it was announced today that Mike Glennon was going to get the start. I don't know how many of you guys heard about that, but 2017, Mike Glennon got benched for Mitchell Trubisky,
Oh yeah.
who got benched this year from Nick Foles, right? Who got benched last year for Gardner Minshew, who got replaced by Luton, who's now benched in favor of Glennon. And that is, my friends, the circle of life. But it's pretty crazy that we have Mike Glennon starting the game in 2020. What it means for their team in the positive sense, I'm not sure.
We don't know what it means.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he can't be worse than 4 interceptions to no touchdowns. But I guess we'll see.
Wait, we're done with the circle of life right now?
well,
Yeah, that
I was just getting into that.
Okay, so we're not picking this game because we're going to pick this game later. Anybody that you guys feel really strong about starting?
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong is strong. The running back, I would start both the running backs for
Yep.
Cleveland.
Chubb and Robinson both.
Jags are dead last in the league. against the
Dead
running back.
last.
I tell you, I'm really worried about the Brown. I think you mentioned it will be a closer game because Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett are both out. It's scary. Ronnie Harrison may not be back in. They're hitting the Browns at the right time, and Gardner is probably going to be starting.
Gardner's not starting.
Yeah.
They announced Glennon.
They did, really?
Yeah,
oh,
we
they did. That's right.
We
We
just did a
covered
whole
that.
skit about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
How does that feel?
I haven't even had a drink.
Guys, speaking of
Well, I
drinks,
don't know
you
what's
have.
going on.
I don't want to do this.
I had a swig. It's different.
No, he didn't have a drink. I think I drank
a
all
couple of
his,
swigs.
which means
Okay, so forget
How
everything I said.
How did you forget?
I'm old, man.
This
I'm
is
old.
crazy.
Okay, so Glennon, that makes me feel better. The Browns win. We go on now. Do you start DJ Chark?
No, I wouldn't start DJ Chark.
Okay, I wouldn't start any Browns receiver other than maybe Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I don't like any. Yeah, it's been pretty bad. They're just not throwing their running team.
you don't like Hooper?
No, I like Hooper.
I like
It's the
Hooper.
only
Yeah, I
one.
actually had Hooper that week. I didn't want to bring that up. but
Hooper.
Yeah.
Hooper.
With silent H.
Hooper.
I think you said Hooper.
I might have said
You
Hooper.
said Hooper.
Well, let's just go to the next game. All right, guys.
He said silent H.
All right,
I think-
let's go to the next game. Saints versus Broncos. On paper, it looks pretty good for the Saints, right? I love Taysom Hill. He is a powerful running quarterback. He's not a smaller guy. He's not weak. When he runs, he runs. And that's been very apparent because even before he was named quarterback, he was averaging 40 to 50 yards rushing in most games.
Yeah.
He's a physical runner. I definitely start him because I think between his runs, which last week he had 2 running touchdowns, he also threw, I believe.
No, he didn't throw.
He didn't throw. He only ran 2 touchdowns, but he had almost 200 or over 200 yards. And I think that mix is pretty good, pretty solid. It is good for Mike Thomas because he's looking at Mike first and second. It has been bad for Kamara.
Couple things. They're going to Denver.
Mile high.
Playing in altitude. What's the weather going to be?
They don't know. They said to check back later in the week, but it's Denver, so it could be pretty bad.
And Denver has actually surprisingly been pretty good against the run.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's tough to go to Denver and play any time of the year. So I'm not necessarily going to take Taste. I like him. Him on the road in Denver in his second start. I just feel like it's a letdown week. I don't know, man.
All right.
And that's just a gut thing. No numbers to support that. Besides that, it's his second start going to a place that's normally hard to play. You don't know what the weather's going to be like in a defense that's a little underrated against the run.
Okay. I think, do you start Melvin Gordon or
No.
Philip Lindsay?
Don't
start
start
any
Melvin
of them.
Gordon.
So first couple weeks, the Saints defense looked terrible. Since then, they have looked really, really good. They've gotten healthy. They've figured out a few things. They've learned to play together, and they have been really solid against the run.
I'm pretty sure they're number one against run.
I'm not going to say Janoris Jenkins is balling out of control for them right now, but you know what I'm saying? That's an old Giants. That's an old Giants.
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm saying you get greatness when you.
All right. Let's go. Let's go on to the next game, which we got the 49ers versus Rams. This is intriguing to me.
Yeah, this team right here, these two teams, it's rough for me. I'm gonna have to let you guys have this one. I might have to go grab the groceries.
What do you think about Raheem Mostert?
Well, I think if he's healthy, if he's 100% healthy, you plug him in, you start him, but I wouldn't expect a big day from him. I mean, the Rams defense has been pretty solid. You seen what they did against Ronald Jones. You see what they did against Leonard Fournette last week.
Yeah, made him look bad.
Yeah, I mean, shut them down. If I was going to attack this defense in any area, it'd be in the air, and Deebo Samuel's going to be back. It looks like he's questionable, but I think he'll be back. And
Brandon Ayuk too, maybe.
I seen he's doubtful, but maybe
he's still on the COVID list. Then maybe he hasn't.
Yeah, maybe. Well, if Deebo's in, you're going to play him. He's been produced all year when he's played. Outside of that, the Rams, these two receivers look good, but they're going against the second defense in the league against wideouts in fantasy. So that's going to be a pretty tough matchup, and I know a lot of people are going to be on them after that performance last week. But, yeah, this game, I mean, I don't have a great feel for what's going to happen in this game. Yeah. The 49ers have looked like 2-3 different teams this year.
Yeah, they have. They've looked their best with Raheem. So that's like, if he's back and healthy, and he looked great at the start of the season. So, but I would agree with that.
But what do you think about those? So if you got the two, Cup and Woods, do you start? I mean, I guess you have to start them, but
so that's the issue. If independently I have either player, you have to start them.
Yeah.
But it's almost better to have both so that you get the upside. Because last week they both did amazing, but I don't know if that's possible.
No. I mean, no, it's probably not against this defense. So yeah, I think it'll be pretty tough. So we'll move on to the Bucks versus the Chiefs, which is a pretty big game here.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go for it.
We have a couple listeners that are annoying, a little bit annoying.
Oh yeah, go for it.
It's just he knows who he is.
Oh, just one guy.
I said the Bucks were not a great team because they had not beaten a great team.
Mm-hmm.
I said that Brady looked terrible at night. He mocked me. He tried to cancel with the cancel culture of this. And in the end, Brady cost them that game. And threw 2 picks that I don't know where he was throwing.
Yeah, those were bad.
I just wanted to get
those
that
are
out.
Johnny Manziel picks.
They weren't that bad, but they were close. All right, what do you guys think about this game? Wow.
I think the Bucks are in the same position. They're going against a pretty good pass defense. The Chiefs have looked good in their home, and it's a big game. And
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be tough for them. I'm not feeling great about any of these running backs on the offense. Gronk, 5 catches in the last 3 weeks. He had a touchdown sprinkled in there, made it look a little bit better than it actually is.
He's having trouble separating for sure. I think I started Antonio Brown this game.
Yeah, Antonio Brown. We mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
26 targets since he's been back. Now, real quick, we'll go through this. It's a guy that hasn't played football in almost 2 years. He hits the ground running, 26 targets, 18 catches, 157 yards. He hasn't got in the end zone yet. But, I mean, he's the guy I would count on the most being able to get open.
Yeah.
More than any of these guys.
I would start Mike Evans too, though.
Yeah, I think you have to, but I'm not feeling crazy about it.
As far as the other side, I like Tyreek Hill. Hey, until he doesn't score, until he looks like he's not the offense, him and Travis Kelce are an every week start.
Well, here's what I'll say real quick, too. I think the Rams laid out a blueprint against playing against that Bucs defense last week.
Throw the ball.
They're going to throw the ball, and I think the Chiefs are going to come out, and they like to throw the ball. Andy Reid doesn't love to run the ball.
Yep.
They're going to throw the ball and throw the ball and throw the ball. And with that in mind, I got a little sneaky flex play for you guys. Darrell Williams is leading the team in running back receptions the past few weeks.
I was going to mention him.
And I like him to plug in daily, or maybe if you could just pick him up and plug him in your flex, he might have a big week because I think they're going to throw the ball all game.
All right. We're going to move on to the Bears and Packers, and we're not going to belabor this game that much.
Not much.
Packers, this is a tough matchup for Aaron. I'm blanking. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But you got to start him. Until he proves that he's not going to score, he's been an amazing quarterback. I like Devontae Adams again. I don't know that I like any running backs on Green Bay because of how good Chicago is.
Yeah, their defense is.
Yeah. And
it's been pretty tough.
On the Bears, you got Montgomery coming back, which would be helpful if he had looked good at all. But it's not him. It's the line. It's the offense. They're a dumpster fire right now. And I wouldn't start any receiver. If you have Allen Robinson, I guess you have to start him.
I'd probably start Mooney in this game, to be honest.
I like Mooney better.
I like Mooney only because I think Robinson's going to get a lot of attention. And I figure the Bears are going to they might be in the game, but I think they'll be down. And I don't think Montgomery's going to be able to run the ball effectively like you were insinuating. And Mooney or even Miller's another guy. I guess you got to kind of pick between those two. But I think your secondary or your third receiver is probably going to get a lot of work in this game.
All right. I think we're going to move on to our last game, and then we're going to go to our
picks.
Our off-site. No, we have our off-site.
Oh, we have the injury reports.
I just want to let y'all know I did secure the turkey. So
did you really?
I just got.
Did you get any stuffing? I like my sweet potato pie with a little bourbon burned on top.
You do like a creme brulee style.
Yeah.
Did you baste it?
No, I didn't have time to baste it. I just had to go grab it. Golly.
You got to make sure to baste the turkey.
He just took it out of the
I
freezer.
based the turkey. Come on.
All right. Let's go to Seattle Eagles. Wentz. Let's not talk about Wentz.
Tone.
In you guys' own words, the wheels are falling off.
I said, the wheels are falling off.
The Browns won that trade. I wondered about that trade.
That's true.
They won that trade. And
you definitely won.
I just want to remind everybody, Antone was all in support of Wentz this week.
He would not only Wentz.
He's got to bounce back.
It's his team. It's his team.
Yeah.
You guys
they look like a full-on dumpster fire.
Yeah, they did.
Sorry, Tone.
I felt bad for that. I felt bad for Wentz.
And you guys see who they're up against, right?
Seattle. To me, this is Seattle. I like, honestly, both DK and Tyler. I like Tyler a little bit better, but I like them both. I like Chris Carson if he comes back.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, I like Carlos Hyde, who's looked great last week.
Yeah.
I like Russell every week.
Personally, I wouldn't even bring Carson. He's on my team.
Why don't you like Carson?
I have him on my team. He just has not been producing
he's
this
been hurt.
year.
He's been hurt.
That would
be why.
He's not playing.
He's not. Even to be honest with you, and then
you can't get fantasy points. If
I'm going to be honest with you. He played the first couple games. He balled out for me. It was great. But then, after that injury, he came back and then was re-injured.
Yeah, he came back too soon.
Yeah,
came back too soon.
And I'm right now. I'm not on a Chris Carson.
Only guy from the Eagles that I play is probably Miles Sanders.
Yeah, honestly, Miles Sanders looked good the first quarter against the Browns, and then they're like, "Oh, that's working. Let's stop it.
Let's stop."
I don't get them.
I hate to mention. I would probably give Fulgham a last.
I was
start.
going to. That's what I was waiting for. I was about
because this past defense is so bad.
Seattle's pretty bad.
If you didn't say that, I was about.
But
to
I tell you
that.
what, if he doesn't produce it, if they don't get something going this week, I probably give up on him.
They're done.
All right. So our next section, and we're going to go live to a Culver's in Upper Delaware, and we're going to go, and Antone's going to be telling us a little bit about the IR.
All right, everybody, I just want to talk about injuries this week. And originally I thought I might do my top 5 key injuries, and then maybe I'll go to top 10 key injuries. And then, boy, when you start looking around the league, you just realize there's a lot going on with a lot of different teams. But I do have a few key things I want to touch on for you guys tonight. And number one, I think everybody kind of knows the big one for this week. It seems like every week there's a big one. The big one for this week is Joe Burrow. Boy, I hate to see him going down. Initially, they said it was an ACL. Then they came back and said MCL as well. And then they said, well, it's a lot more than we initially thought. So folks already predicting Joe Burrow to be out a full 12 months to possibly even 14 months. Now, I know the coach said a little bit differently. I thought he might be back much shorter time than that. But all indications, Joe Burrow is going to be significantly down for a significant amount of time and doing quite a bit of rehab. One other key injury I want to talk to you guys about is, and it may be a little bit of a mystery for some folks, but Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's got a banged up shoulder, and then there's conflicting reports on what's going on. Kyler feels like he can play through it. Cliff Kingsbury says he doesn't really know a whole lot about the shoulder right now, which means hopefully it'll be fine. But right now, Kyler Murray a little bit banged up. If you flip over to the Atlanta Falcons, but I tell you what, they're hurting right now. You have Gurley out. You are questionable. You have Ridley questionable. You have Julio Jones questionable. And I tell you what, guys, it's really going to shake up a few teams, especially if you are heavy loaded with Falcons specialty players on your teams. But here's another angle I want to talk to you guys about. COVID. The Raiders defense has basically been decimated by COVID-related illness, if you will, or contact, if you will. And they have a lot of players out. In fact, coaches have said they're not even sure how they're going to be able to field the team defensively. So a lot of key injuries going on. Make sure you pay attention. Make sure you're not starting someone that's out. But also pay attention to the COVID restrictions and the COVID sort of updates you're getting team by team, because there are a lot of key players that may not be injured, but they may be out of the game this week. So make sure you pay attention to that. And that's it, guys, for this week's injury report.
Okay, Tom.
Tom, can you send me a concrete mixer? I like butter pecan. I really
want?
like the homemade butter pecan.
That's a good call. What you
I
want?
like peanut butter cup.
Oh, no, I'm going to have to go with the Snickers vanilla
No, the
mixer.
best.
Let me
I'm
hear
telling
it.
you guys.
Let me hear.
The absolute best.
Don't do it to me.
Mint.
Oh,
no.
you got to go.
Mint and Oreo.
Don't do this.
It's like an Andes mint. Oh, it's so good.
I'm not a big mint fan.
I'm gonna
I like
be honest with
pistachio.
you.
Do they have
Like
pistachio?
That's
one?
a
Mint
good
chocolate
one.
chip.
If you like
So
mint
good.
chocolate
I'm a
chip,
big
you
mint
eat
fan.
toothpaste before you brush your
Yeah.
teeth every
mint,
morning.
mint and peppermint. There's too much people trying to shove peppermint and mint in my mouth
You
and stuff.
squeeze the tube of toothpaste
That might be
down your throat.
That maybe it's a sign.
Get your peppermint
Okay,
away.
So while we're talking about picks, let's get to our pick section. I don't know what you guys think about this week's slate, but I think it's pretty interesting. And I think you got Tone's picks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have you speak for Tone. Maybe you could try to imitate his voice a little bit. That'd be fun. So,
I'm not going to try to imitate Antone because he's a lot bigger than me and he'll hurt me.
What about Coach O?
I'll do Coach O all the time. So
You can do good. Let me hear what you think about this week's slate real quick, Coach O.
You let me know what time it is. I got you.
All right, so the first game is going to be the Giants at the Bengals. The Giants are giving 6 points to the Bengals on the road. Rocky, what do you think about this game?
I'm going Giants. I'm not even hesitating.
I feel good about our quarterback. I feel good about our lineman. I feel good about tight end. I definitely feel good about our one running back. So I'm gonna have to go with the Giants on this one.
And what's Tone's pick for this?
He's going Giants.
He's going Giants. That's surprising.
It's an
I'm an
obvious
Eagles
answer.
fan.
Coach O says,
All right, well, Giants on the road, giving 6. Let's go Giants. All right, next game, Seahawks.
"Go Giants."
Giving 5 to the lowly Eagles on the road.
These are easy. I'm going Seahawks.
What about you?
Come on, is that even a question?
All right, so I guess he's going to Eagles, and I'm also going to Eagles.
Whoa,
I mean,
timeout. What are you doing here? I told you I'm going to Seattle.
You said it was obvious. All right, you're going.
Yeah, but
all right,
I feel good about our 2 receivers.
Who you going?
I'm going Seahawks.
So is Antone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can I mention one thing? Coach O says, I think I'm undefeated right now
Yeah.
in picking these.
Okay.
I think Coach
We do
O.
got to say this.
Let's go ahead.
Right now, Delano's in first place at 9-4.
I don't know
After
how it
starting
happened.
1-4. He's won 8 straight.
They say I don't know how that happens. I'm a rookie.
Every now and again, a blind squirrel finds a nut. Is what I think.
Wow, that's what they think, but I know a little something about football.
I'm in second place, 8-5. Phil, you're
6 and 7.
6-7, man.
don't
You're
know
not even
what's going on.
500, and
I don't know
Antone
what's
is
going
3-1. So
I'm gonna
he's
be honest.
catching you.
I thought Phil was one of the best, but it shows that he's not.
Yeah, he's not the best.
All right,
He's
well,
not
it's
the
early.
best.
It's early. We have time to bounce back.
What we got?
All right, so we got the Browns at Jags. The Browns are given 6.5 points. What do we think about this? Do we think Mike Glennon can lead them to the promised land and cover the 7 points?
I see him over there rubbing that elf one more time. I'm going to have to take that head away.
What do you got, Rocky?
You know, this is a tough one only because of the injuries on defense. I think the Browns are going to win this game. I do not think they're going to cover that spread. So I'm going to go the Jags.
What do you
Oh,
think?
my goodness. Did he just bet against his own team?
Yeah. Are you still Coach O?
I don't know when to stop Coach on right
Yeah,
now,
I
to be
think
honest with
maybe
you.
soon
I'm going
stop.
to keep.
Soon
You want me to
stop.
go ahead and stop?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
good
let's
about
stop.
our running back. Fucking.
Antone chose the Browns, but I don't know that he knew that Myles Garrett and Ward were both going to be out because they were announced.
He should
today.
know. He's doing the injury report.
That's big facts. Big facts. I'm gonna go with. This is a tough one for me. Every other pick is a no-brainer. The Browns versus the Jags. I'm gonna go with the Browns. I'm gonna go with the Jags,
and I think the Browns are a way better team, but they're a running team. They're not going to run the score up.
You're right.
So I will go with the Jags.
That's a big spread. It's actually some respect for the Browns, I got to say.
Can I be honest with you? I'm only going the Browns just for you because you're going against the Browns. I'm going the Browns.
No, I said the Browns will win.
Okay.
I don't think they'll cover.
Okay. I think they're going to cover.
Okay. And then our last game of the week is going to be a big game that's pushed back because of this COVID situation, but the Ravens are on the road at the Steelers in Heinz Field, and they're getting 4.5 points. Do we think Action Jackson will lead the Ravens to victory here in the Pittsburgh area?
Action Jackson.
What do you think?
He ain't been in much action lately.
Antone chose the Steelers.
Okay.
It's a catch game, I think, because the Steelers are undefeated. Teams don't go undefeated, not since the Miami Dolphins in 72.
Yeah.
This worries me, but I'm still going to go Steelers.
Do
okay.
it.
What about you?
Hey, right there. Right with them.
Steelers
have to.
I'm taking the Steelers as well.
Gabby, who do you take?
Gabby, what you got?
Steelers.
Yes, ma'am.
Go
Makes a lot of sense.
Steelers.
I hear that.
All right, so
Joker,
guys,
baby.
listen, at some point here, we're going to come up with cue that music. Just put it down a little bit. We're going to come up with a little bit of a punishment for the guy that finishes in last place here. We haven't come up with that yet. We've kicked around a few ideas. If you guys have any good ideas that are reasonable.
Well, what's reasonable? Let's talk about what's not
reasonable.
reasonable.
You ain't shaving nothing, by
Shave
the
your
way.
head.
Ain't shaving nothing.
Oh, shaving the head is not too bad, but we'll just if you guys got reasonable responses, some ideas, send them in the direct message or comment it on one of the videos or
Reasonable.
anything.
Reasonable.
We will not pay attention to anything that's
outlandish.
crazy. Yeah, we all have kids and jobs and stuff like that. You know, we're dads, so anything reasonable, and we'll see what pick the one that's the best and maybe roll with that and something to keep track of as the show goes on.
Oh yeah, and we'll do it if it's reasonable. We'll do it.
All right. Anybody got anything else today?
No, I don't think so. I think, as always, we want to remind you guys, please, to listen to us on YouTube or on any podcast format. We want you to look at our Instagram, Facebook, our website, TikTok. We are TikTok freaking famous.
We're getting
we're
there.
pretty good.
We're
Make sure y'all check out
definitely
those
not TikTok famous,
TikTok
but please
famous.
make us TikTok famous.
I think
Okay,
we're
let me
TikTok
keep my
famous.
job.
Hey,
I am TikTok famous in my own mind.
He is.
And
So.
hopefully you'll make us TikTok famous for real. Is that
100.
fair?
Thank you guys.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
after listening to
Thanksgiving.
this.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. You guys have a good week.
Know what I know? Arms open when I sin, I fall straight to my knees. Yeah, it's like we holding on to what he's hating. Lacking luster from the Father, cause there's no relation. I'm told to tell you about a word from God, if not mistaken. That's why his name is always dropped.